I welcome Sanjay ji. Sanjay Kumar Sanjay ji. Sanjay Kumar Verma. We started another interesting session. First guest speaker is Sanjay Kumar Verma. I introduce you the speaker first to you. Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma is a president of Birla Cellulose, of the umbrella brand of pulp and fiber business of Aditya Birla Group. Birla Cellulose is among the largest manufacturers of viscose staple fiber in world with an installed capacity of 1 million metric ton at 7 different locations across the globe: India, Indonesia, Thailand and China. ABG Group accounts for close to 20% of world VSF capacity. Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma has an over 24 years of experience in textile business and has been involved in selling textile raw material, VSF, ESF, filament and spunnia. He is BTech, MBA by qualification and has a wide experience of working in global markets. He has worked in India, Indonesia and Thailand market over many years. Presently, he heads the global sales of viscose staple fibers and chemicals apart from the customer technical services at Birla Cellulose. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Sanjay Kumar Verma.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank Mr. Dhiren Sheth for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to address this August gathering. Ladies and gentlemen, I represent the Birla Cellulose, which is among the largest manufacturers of viscose staple fiber or rayon staple fiber in the world. As was explained just now, Birla Cellulose is an umbrella brand for all our manufacturing units spread across Indonesia, China, Thailand, India at 4 locations. We are also one of the largest producers of dissolving grade wood pulp in the world, having manufacturing units in Canada, plantations in Canada, plantations in Laos, plants in Sweden and in India also. I was present in this room since morning and I got to know, I think, the people's view that there are 2 sides, King Cotton. So all I would like to submit in this short presentation is, yes, there are, apart from King Cotton, there are princes also and queens also. So give us some opportunity for the same. To compliment each one of you sitting in this room, each one of us has 2 roles. We are professionals, we are entrepreneurs, we are also consumers. To me also as a consumer, cotton today occupies most of my mind space as a consumer, and I see most of the shelf spaces to whichever stores we go. So that is entirely due to the efforts put in by the cotton industry. Each one of you who is sitting over there. So all my compliments to each one of you. This is just a small gist of the business and the capacities and the geographies where we operate. We have got plantations spread over more than 50,000 hectares. Pulp with a capacity of close to 1 million tons and viscose staple fiber with a capacity of almost 1 million tons by the end of this financial year FY16. You must be seeing, we have made several notings at the bottom, and these are the locations where we manufacture. India, we manufacture all kind of fibers, specialty, both commodity. Thailand also specialty and commodity. China, particularly only commodity. Indonesia, specialty and commodity. And in Turkey, we have announced a brand new plant with an investment of more than $400 million. We represent the pulp and fiber business of the Aditya Birla Group, and I think being in India, most of you would be aware about what Aditya Birla Group as an entity is. The second slide shows some data from the period 2007 to 2013, and I'm sorry I have not been able to incorporate any film. It's just mass of data and numbers, so you have to kindly bear with me. So I have not got in any film with me. Sorry for the same. You see, cotton production has practically stagnated from 2007 to 2013, and in each of these slides we have mentioned the sources of the data, because it's very important, because different sources will be reporting different numbers. So you can go through the presentation and each of the slides you find the relevant sources. So while cotton production has practically stagnant, of course the base is a huge base of 26 million tons. The fibers which are grown are polyester filament yarn, which has the highest growth of 8.7% CAGR, and viscose staple fiber, which is represented by Rho 2 VSF, that comes to be 8.4%. So all fibers put together from 76 million tons have grown to 90 million tons in the calendar year 2013. 2014 numbers will be coming somewhere after 4 to 5 months. And viscose staple fiber, while growing among the fastest fibers, it is not a synthetic fiber. I mean, this is what I would like to emphasize in this particular gathering. Though it's a man-made fiber, but it's a cellulosic origin fiber. It is the only fiber which complements and supplements the cotton fiber. You can blend in viscose with cotton, 10%, 12%. Most of you will not come to know also. And it has been happening in the industry. Whenever the cotton prices go up, our consumers, that means our spinners, they keep on blending these fibers together without any apparent difference. The country where the highest growth has come undoubtedly is China for this viscose staple fiber. This is a chart in which there is an estimate of the global fiber demand scenario from the year 2014 to 2020. These numbers are again as per various sources plus our own internal estimates, which we keep on doing in our own business for many products. And cotton, we foresee that yes, the growth is going to increase by 2.3%, but you as I think the experts in cotton will be in a much better position to judge these numbers. Viscose staple fiber, the growth rate what we project is around 3.7%. Polyester filament yarn, PFY, will continue to enjoy the highest growth rate of 4%. In the subsequent slides, I would just like to give you some idea why do we think that viscose staple fiber will continue to grow at 3.7%. What are the reasons for it? What are the new fibers which are coming in the horizon, which are already there? Typically, which are complementing and supplementing cotton. This is a chart in which for all the key markets, we have estimated going forward from the year 2014 to 2030, what are the growth rates of the VSF consumption. For a country like India, we estimate close to 7%. China, of course, the base is very big, 3.8%. Indonesia, 4%. Turkey, same, 4.1%. Rest of the world will be practically, I think, either it will be a degrowth or it will remain stagnant, maybe around 2%. So overall, globally, we think it is close to 3.7% CAGR over the next 5 to 6 years. For consumption, China again is going to retain its status as the dominant consumption head, and with a 64%, whereas the other countries like India, Indonesia, Turkey, they will be having a consumption of around 6 to 8%. Let us also talk about the main topic, which is the technological innovations, which will help the VSF industry to sustain this growth rate. We have, I think, divided this presentation into few parts which are related to the quality attributes of the fiber. Then what are the technical attributes? What are the quality attributes? Which, as manufacturers, we would like to inbuild into our fibers. Not only we, along with us, the whole VSF industry. We would also like to talk a slide or two about what is happening in the textile industry at the machinery manufacturing people, what is happening in the downstream value chain, and all of these combined together, what benefit they can give to the consumer to drive the growth. For the sake of simplicity, I have divided this slide into 3 parts. What happened in the last decade, what is existing today, and what is going to happen in the future, let us say in the next 3 to 4 years. Tenacity, we had a tenacity in the viscose staple fiber of 2.7 grams per denier. For people in the cotton industry, that translates to 24.9 grams per tex. At present, almost every one of us, it operates with 2.90. Future developments, we are going to put a lot of emphasis, build in a lot of capex in the system to increase the tenacities to 3.3 grams per denier, which will translate to around 29.7 or 30 grams per tex. And why? Because the spinning machinery technology keeps on improving. At every ITMA, whichever you go, you are finding machine speeds increasing. We need much more stronger fibers to take care of the machinery efficiency. Fineness. When we started the industry in the last decade, it was 1.2 denier corresponding to 3.4 micron. Now, already 0.9 denier every one of us produces. We think 0.7 denier or even 0.6 denier is going to be taken into production in the next couple of years, and that are going to determine the future. Splinters. This is very important for us. It is common to us also and common to the cotton industry also. Last decade, let us say splinters were 100 per gram. Today, dramatic improvement has been done in the technology. It has been brought to 25. Future, we are going to take it to 10 or maybe less. Why? Because we feel that the knitting industry, the growth is far more higher than the weaving industry. And for knitting industry, you need to have a very even yarn to give a very good fabric. So this is going to help us, the industry. Then spin finishes of different nature to overcome the very high speeds. That is what we are going to put lots and lots of R&D into it, so that we come out with fibers which can be spun at very high speeds. This is just an example of how the spinning technology has progressed over the years. Let us say last 10 years, decades starting from 10 to 15, and what are the developments underway. This gives you an idea why man-made fibers or why synthetic fibers, whatever, the manufacturers have to keep on putting lots and lots of capex and also opex into the process to meet the stringent requirements of the textile industry. We can talk about the ring spinning. We were having average spinning speeds of 16,000 RPM. Average production per day was, production per position per day was 580 grams. The speeds increased to 17,500, production increased to 660 grams, and now 20,000 RPM and 750 grams. Open end from 105,000 RPM, already running at 125, going to 140. MBS systems 380 meters per minute, going to 550. So what is happening is, there is no let back. Every day technology is improving, and we have to make sure that the fibers which we produce in this industry, they are attuned to the requirements of our spinners. If we are not going to make sure that this progression happens, the industry will fall back. So this is one of the drivers which we estimate that the viscose staple fiber consumption globally should be around 3.7%, which I have explained in the earlier slides. This is technological advancement in viscose yarn. To take an example, I am just giving the statistics. The statistics of 2007 say that CV percent, which was 12.7, is now stringent 12.2. Imperfection levels from 65 to 55, and yarn tenacity has been increased from 15 to 15.8. What does it mean? Again, it means that the usage of viscose staple fiber in knit applications, which is the mainstay of viscose staple fiber, we are making a fiber by which our customers can make spun yarns which are more suitable for knitting. This segment, knitting segment, has been among the fastest growing applications for the viscose staple fiber. Let me take 2-3 slides for what are we doing in the various generation of fibers. The first generation, where it is put, you can put either spun sheets or you can put a regular commodity viscose staple fiber. The second generation can be, let us say, Birla Modal, and the third generation is Birla XL. I'll just give you in brief what does it represent. This chart will give you the fiber properties of cotton fiber, viscose, which is, let us say, a regular viscose of first generation, Modal, which is second generation, and XL, which is our brand name for the third generation. I'm not going to go into details because these are numbers and this is a common chart. All I am saying is that viscose is among the most preferred fibers for complementing and supplementing cotton. Of course, cotton retains the king cotton. In this Modal, which is the second generation fiber, it offers excellent fabric feel, particularly in blends with cotton, while XL is a green fiber. It's a green fiber, it's a solvent spun fiber. There are only 2 companies in the world who till now are manufacturing. One is my esteemed competitor sitting over here, I think Lindsay, and the second, the Birla Group. And this green fiber has the highest tenacity among all the fibers. Let me give you Birla spun dyed viscose fiber. The Birla Group is the largest manufacturer of spun dyed fibers. So what happens is, we give to our customers whatever colors they want. You need 2 tons, you need 5 tons, you need 10 tons, you need 20 tons, you need 100, 200, 1000 tons. Your exact color we give. We color the fibers, we have a shade range of more than 3000 colors. So no need for any customer to have a dyeing, to have processing, to have those effluent problems. You can simply order from us. We are the largest in the world for these kind of fibers, and they are very, very environmental friendly. The best part is repeatability, that you can take lots from us years after years. They are going to remain the same color. Available in 1.3 up to 12 deniers. They are eco-friendly, cost competitive, and I believe it's very cost competitive. A common black color for viscose staple fiber costs only 18 rupees per kg. in the Indian context, which is 30 cents per kg to make. And these are being blended right now by our customers in 1 up to 35% for CV melanges, cotton viscose melange for knit segments. Customers are also using in 100% viscose melanges in MBS technology, both for the woven and for the knit segment. These are the numbers, how spun dyed fibers have an excellent washing fastness, rubbing fastness as compared to the other traditional routes, which are, let us say, the fiber dyeing or yarn dyeing or the piece dyeing of the fabric. So these are the fibers which are having all the excellent properties plus eco-friendly, the green thing. So lots and lots of data, which I believe the soft copy would be with you. So you can just go through it, and any questions, you can contact us. This is again a slide which is revealing that a customer, let us say at the process house, if he needs to dye 1 kg of fabric, it comes to around 73-74 rupees. Whereas if he takes from us, it gets to around 40 rupees. So clear cut case of 40% saving in the dyeing and processing cost by the use of these fibers as compared to the traditional routes. This is some of the applications of the spun dyed shades in blends with cotton, in blends with polyester, and in 100% also. Different end uses, formal suitings, uniforms, melange nets, carpets, home furnishing, stoles, scarves, even wipes, automotives, and PVC. So a whole range of uses, whole range of the applications, and you can again get the details where you can use it and or where our customers are right now using these fibers. This is the second generation modal fibers, and looking to a very bright future, because India, being one of the countries, the second largest producer, and I think this year it is the largest producer of cotton in the world, we see a very bright future for our second generation fibers in blends with cotton. So we have invested close to 2,300 crore rupees in our new greenfield plant coming at a Vilayat in Gujarat, where we have installed a huge capacity for production of the second generation fibers. This capacity is now operational. By the end of this year, it will be 65,000 tons per annum. This has been primarily done for blends with cotton, because Gujarat also is among the highest producing cotton states in India. And here, I have just given a chart which says, as a user, as a consumer, what is the wearing comfort a user gets by wearing cotton modal blends vis-a-vis 100% cotton fabrics. So, this is by the Kawabata test. I think the technical colleagues over here, they will understand what a Kawabata test. You test the fabrics, and thereby these are the results. So these results are available with us. These are internal references only. So you can find that the value offered by blending modal with cotton vis-a-vis 100% cotton, much more softer fabrics, smoother, much more, I think, crease resistance. This is the latest fiber, the third generation fiber, which is known as the solvent spun. Our brand name is Birla Excel, and you can see the tenacity values are extremely high. It is 4 to 4.4. Elongation is also good. Moisture taking is 30. This is a fiber which we can see, it's an entire closed loop process. So no pollution, nothing. And it is excellent in blends with cotton. In blends with cotton, it complements cotton, and there are many customers in India and overseas who are using these fibers in blend with cotton, particularly for woven uses. So these are just the properties, and this chart refers to what are the developments which are happening in the wet processing stage, which are going to make sure that the viscose fabrics, they keep on growing, they are much more efficient, they are much more durable, they are much more, I think, likable. A lot of technologies which are happening, airflow dyeing technology, e-control, cold pad dyeing, And the main issue which we felt, I think, over the years was that the viscose fabrics, they are subject to much more shrinkage. Earlier the norm was 10%, now it is 4% only. So these are a list of the technologies which the dyeing houses, they are already having, or it is under developments which is going to sustain the momentum of that 3.7% CAGR what we are looking for. A different segment which is non-wovens, close to 7% up to 10% of all viscose production in the world goes into this segment. So viscose staple fiber is close to 420,000 tons per year. This is a segment which is growing at 7 to 8% CAGR, and we feel the biggest use is in wipes, kitchen wipes, face wipes, whatever it is. So this segment is going to grow. This is also going to ensure that the growth rate of viscose staple fiber continues. And I have just given a photograph of whatever uses are there. So anyway, the whole idea was to make all of us understand in this room, it's not related to competing fibers. It's not related to liking or disliking. As a consumer, each one of us, when we spend money, we have the right to choose what we like. So it's equal opportunity. May the best fiber win. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sanjay ji, for giving us a great insight about a fiber which is not competing but complementing with cotton. I invite the next speaker, Shri Murugan Thankonda. Sorry, I am unable to Thankonda, who is a General Manager of Sales and Marketing of South Asia since December 2008 in Lenzing, the only company worldwide combining the manufacturing of all three man-made cellulose fiber generations on a large industrial scale under one roof, from the classic viscose to model and lyocell. Mr. Murugan has a 25 years of corporate experience in manufacturing, sales and marketing of fiber divisions, including polyesters and cellulose fiber. Prior to the assignment, he was with Aditya Birla Group for its cellulose fiber business and in Indorama Synthetics for polyester staple fiber business. Widely traveled to all major spinning and textile hubs in the world, Mr. Murugan is presently strategizing the long-term business directions in line with corporate mission to market the fiber in the South Asian market. I welcome you, sir. Please.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. It's a very tired session. Being the last speaker, I am representing from Lenzing. Many of you heard about the name Lenzing. It's a company which makes cellulose fiber. The Lenzing company is in Austria the last 75 years, from 1938. It's a deep €2 billion company and the major sales and export. It makes all the fibers, viscose, modal and lyocell. If you look at generation of the fibers, the viscose is the back in the market for the last 100 years and modal is almost for the last close to 50 years. And the tensor, which is a lyocell fiber, there for 20 years. We have a plant locations almost in all the major hubs: Austria, China, Indonesia, UK and USA. This chart simply shows a number or statistics which prove that the per capita consumption of an individual per year translate to 12.7 kilo of fiber in terms of materials. If you look at the number is actually increasing the last decade from 9 kilo to 12.7 kilo, as well as the population also increases. In the left side, if the first page is a natural fiber, which is cotton, as a major, and the next one is a man-made fibers. Here we like to make a simple correction that our man-made fiber is a cellulose fiber, which is actually complementing cotton. I look at an overview. In a global scale, people say 60-40 ratio, which is now declining or changing. More than 60% is synthetic fiber and less than 40% is cellulose fiber, which includes cotton and man-made. But in Indian scale, it's vice versa. It's a more of a cellulose base and less of synthetic. Maybe in future, with the trade barriers, duty structures, CST, everything come in line at the ground level, this again subject to change. The last 9 months, in the year 2014, we see the big headache for everyone. We all hear with the grim face saying that the cotton price is last. Today, globally, close to 22 million cotton is in stock, which is very unusual. The year 2011 saw an aberration in the textile industry with China start buying cotton for reserve. The last 4 or 5 years consecutively, the cotton production is actually much higher than the consumption, which leads to the higher ending stock. But if you look at the long-term megatrends, what we call it as the population and prosperity. The population is growing at 1.1% CAGR, which is a fact. And the prosperity is growing, but again subjective, whether the prosperity will lead to a disposable income. But yes, the previous slide shows exactly the per capita is increasing. It implies more than 3% is the CAG growth of fiber. What we derive out of the fact is the man-made cellulose fiber is a long-term growth strategy. If you look at this graph, we have some assumptions. The assumption is like cotton can be between 26 to 13 million ton per year. Yes, more or less. With almost minimum 3% CAGR, we could see the man-made fiber can grow at a low of minimum 3% and the maximum is in double-digit growth. It's quite possible, but in a long-term perspective. What is cellulose gap? It's a myth. Of course, a very subjective topic to debate. Everyone knows cotton plantation area is very limited. India as well as globally. The yield per hectare is also saturated, bearing India to some extent maybe Brazil. So the cotton availability is almost limited. And which is the fact now. Will it translate really into a cellulose gap? We look back 100 years. The viscose was in the industry for almost 100 years. But the fiber, which is invented in 1950s, polyester fiber, took the complete market share. I mean, we feel something is missing in the natural fiber, which synthetic fiber is able to contribute for the growth of the fiber. Today, the polyester is almost close to 60%. In the graph, the red line you see, which we derive as a cellulose gap, which means like when the cotton is actually set it for the maximum capacity, it has to be filled by the man-made cellulose fiber. Very unfortunately, based on this data, many Chinese players gone for a very massive expense of viscose fiber, and that put a lot of pressure on the prices now. Maybe in the long term, yes, but I would say in a short term, we need to see whether cellulose gap really exists which can replace particularly viscose fiber. A big debatable topic. What we see, we are just trying to redefine and recalibrate our strategy. We all know that Lenzing is the company which make all the fibers from viscose to spondyle to modal to tensile, everything. But the time has come for us to really think on a long-term strategy wherein we are just trying to keep our viscose fiber and modal capacity as it is. Maybe viscose we will try to differentiate from a commodity. Till possible but not sure. But modal, yes. We can keep a niche market. It's the best complementing fiber for cotton which gives softness. And tensile fiber, which is being actually in the market for last 20 years, is not grown because there was no technological innovation happening in the last 20 years. But in the recent past, Lenzing has come out with a new tensile plant with a capex as well as opex as the lowest one, which we can surely say we can compete with any fiber. And this fiber will be in future aggressively priced to match with the cotton as well as viscose, which has a better property. As you know, tensile, the name derives from tenacity, cellulose. What is our leadership? In the left side, if you see, we have a 98% market share in tensile in the global market. And we have 80% market share in the modal market. And we have 15% market share in the viscose market. Within our pie, our capacity of tensile is more than 20%, modal is more than 12-13%, and viscose still is a major 2/3. We would see in future, our target would be to make tensile as 30%, modal will be 15%. So more than 45% will be in specialties. And slowly, we could see the dream is coming true. What kind of innovations we made to really achieve that? In modal, we have found out with a new process innovations wherein two major things has been broken. Number one, our modal is carbon neutral. Number two, the amount of chemical we use, 95% of the chemical we recover back. We have won the technology pattern and we feel that this will make a very high sustainable activity in the coming days to come. Nevertheless, tensile is the future as far as Lenzing goes. Just a brief theory on what modal. In the mid of 60s, when viscose was in work, when polyester came in market in 1950s, people found some fiber which cellulose was a more strength. So Lenzing started inventing a fiber with a higher wet modulus, and that's how we come out with the fiber called Hoch Modul 333, which is a German name, and that fiber has been renamed by Viscose modal. In 1980s, the fiber has actually been used out of Europe. Earlier, it was only in Europe. This fiber's unique property is it is the softest fiber available in the earth. In 1984, Some more innovation happened with the micromodal, with the detail getting finer and the softness getting really enhanced. Now it's a process innovation. It comes lensing, micro, modal, and modal by Edelweiss. What is Edelweiss? Many of you know that Edelweiss is a flower which grows in Austria only in a clean organic environment. The process, which never uses chlorine, becomes carbon neutral and almost we recover the chemical impact. We would say this process is called Edelweiss technology. This lists some of the inventions. As we go, there is no end for any inventions. We keep on, finding a new kind of sustainable activity as time goes. The last 50 years, we keep on actually, redefining the process innovations to get a best out of it. Do we debate? Is it for extra length topic pattern? Because as we know, Pima, Supima, maybe Sweet has a very limited supply potential as the time goes. And this fiber actually is a better complement fiber for cotton blend, particularly in the high end. Is it? Because we don't see a real problem with when micromodal is being blended with the Pima and the Supima, which is actually being used by many brands. They still feel that the micromodal complements Pima and Supima. How he does that? This factory is completely integrated from wood to the fiber. Many of us have the wrong concept, like cutting tree is a real concern. Yes, it's a concern. But what we do? We have a FSC certified Forest Stewardship Council. It says, like when a tree actually releases oxygen, inhales CO2, and a man inhales oxygen, release CO2, it's like a biological balance. As the tree goes older, the ability of transmitting oxygen is getting reduced. So we have to cut the tree and replant the tree. The younger tree has the better ability, as we know. So in the FSC, we have the control, and we are doing it like every 5 to 7 years, we cut the tree and replant it. It's more of a sustainable activity. That's how we brought the carbon neutral, and that's how we take the Edelweiss technology in our modal process. Of course, 95% is recovered back. If you look at the magazine's report, like after important, the closed loop production system definitely in future is going to be a concern. As embed by lensing fibers in its portfolio, the cellulosic fiber like tensile is getting stronger and stronger. The Edelweiss story now is the lensing is the modal's inventor, and it is patterned, it is CO2 neutral. Of course, beech wood is a DNA. Wherever fiber ends, then it goes for really very, very smooth application wear for inner wears and ladies' garments. What Mr. Jose Butler was actually asking for a tag. We are the only company start providing a swing tag as a complementary for all the garments which has been made from lensing, modal, micromodal and tensile fiber. This is some of the applications. We do have a branding concept. As you see, major brands now CAT, Target, Achana, M&S comes up with mainly from lensing product. So we would like to reposition the micro model in a different league. Then comes lyosol technology. If you look at the history, 18th century or 19th century belongs to British. Then comes Americans. Today could be Asian. More or less the answer could be yes. Even the historians rigidly say the same thing. 19th century is more of a cotton. Then comes maybe synthetic. Which fiber will live in future? Is it a cotton or synthetic? That became a very big question mark on sustainability. Let us go back 100 years. A well-known fortune publishes the list of top 100 companies in the US. Maybe in 1910, 1914. Now fast forward. Can we find any common name between these two? Maybe GE. Others, names are not there. When the company was saying, I am a top fortune company, they have been out of the market. They are unable to sustain and adapt to the changing dynamic environment. So what it means? The means, as the UK government says, improved quality of life without compromising the quality of life of the future generations is what sustainability. In 3 dimensions, it's not only in single dimensions, it has to be a human, finance and ecosystem. Global grain production. The root cause of the phenomenon of rising food price, high energy and fertilizer prices, the demand for food crops in biofuel production and low food cost are likely to prevail. This conclusion came from World Bank. In 2008, UN has sent out the question to all the country. The question is very simple. With the global warming foreseeing, land acreage coming down for cultivation, how do we strategize 3 times food for a human without shortage? But you see the reply from the country, which is really making the raising the eyebrows. Canada was asking a question, what do you mean by global warming? Our entire country is spending money of more than 2/3 to heat in the country. Austria replied, what do you mean by land acreage coming down? We have to find how many land we have. Denmark replied that what do you mean by scarcity? He said, technology is called scarcity is there in the world. Somalia replied, what do you mean by 3 times food? Oh, people in the world 3 times. Maybe in Africa it's only 2 times. And China replied, what do you mean by strategy? Even in the global, with so much media, so much information sharing, the imbalance is there even understanding a single question. That's how the World Bank is raising this point of making as how do we strategize for the food crops. We as a cellulose cycle is a closed loop, biodegradable from forest. It keeps to a human, again going to the dust, again to the forest. The cycle is more sustainable. And what is our concept? In economic, yes, we have good innovation. For environment, we stand for the global, and for the people, we give all the social corporate responsibility. The fiber industry keep changing as the year goes. The new innovations keep coming. The land and water usage is a big concern. If you look at the cotton, closely 1 hectare per 1 ton of production, and water consumed of more than 5,000 metric cube per ton of fiber of cotton being produced. Land and soil issue is getting difficult globally, wherever it's growing. Water issue, many of us do not know. Only 2.5% of water is actually pure water to drink. And the pollution issue is everywhere. And what options we have? Is it oil based? Maybe to some extent, yes. The peak rate of oil will reach in 2020 till the time the synthetic will keep on increasing. After that, the synthetic has to go down because of the oil rate is going to come down naturally. The only options which we see as a cellulose option, whereas the carbon dioxide water gives a tree and oxygen. The tree goes for making cellulose and oxygen for the human. The CML factors, we know that when growing cotton is abiotic depletion, hemotoxicity, freshwater, ecotoxicity, of course, tetrodotoxicity, photochemical, acidification, eutrophication. These are all the issues which is going to come in future now. How do we really sustain? That is where maybe we could see in future the global warming may make us. How do we sum up? We can't change in directions, but only other sides. That's how we found lyocell solvent spun technology, which recover 99.7% chemical back into the system. Oil-based fiber requires non-renewable energy. Cotton needs land, and overall in the manufacturing sector, tensile fiber is among the favorable fiber which may lead to a better fiber in the 21st century. This is the footprint. It complements all the fiber characters. How do we sustain it? See the plant. One would imagine this is the only plant where the wastewater is treated and sold as mineral water. Can you imagine? We have a brand called Dyson, a mineral water, which is actually from our affiliate. This is a tensile plant. We started recently, 3 months back, 3-month-old baby. Fortunately, in the depression market, this fiber has been sold out now. The reason, the water consumption is almost negligible. Land usage is non-arable land, almost 1/5. And the relative load factor for environment is negligible. That's how we see the world textile market by segment. If you see apparel segment, which is more than 50% of the market, which is driven by cotton, where the home textile market, which is close to 20 million ton, whereas we could see a 5 million ton gap, which is going for a tensile fiber. This percentage is available to you. For non-woven segment and medical textiles, we could see a 2 million ton gap, which will be filled by our high-end fibers. Of course, I have seen a good potential in all applications, it's photographs, and our brand recognition is almost tripled. You could see tensile fiber is the only fiber which is eco-certified. How do you conclude? Is it a major trade? It's a growing industry, yes. And the fiber consumption is going up. Megatrend will continue. The population will increase. Potential of opportunity. But we conclude man-made fiber offer a sustainable solution to the needs of the industry. but we need to seek out the best practice. The tensile among the fibers have the potential growth for the industry needs. Tensile fiber eco-certified, and this fiber being made in jumbo line with the least capex and the least opex among the cellulose fibers. So finally, to sum up, no pesticides, no herbicides, no irrigation, use of low-grade land, still natural, renewable and recyclable raw material. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you.
Thank both the speaker, and since we are running out of the time, and also Sanjay ji told me that he has to reach head office, so we close this session and thank them once again. Thank you very much.
And now it is time for business session 7, the future of cotton. And this session is going to be chaired by Mr. Nayan C. Mirani, Vice President of CAI. I invite on stage Mr. Nayan Mirani and the speaker, Mr. Peter Wakefield, Director of Wakefield Inspection Services. A small introduction about Mr. Nayan Mirani. Mr. Nayan Mirani is the Vice President of the Cotton Association of India since 2008 to 2009 onwards. His father, late Mr. C.H. Mirani, was the President of the CAI. Mr. Nayan Mirani is the ex-Vice Chairman of the International Forum for Cotton Promotion. He is engaged in the family business of cotton. He is also on the board of several Indian listed companies and trusts. I would like to invite Mr. Nayan Mirani on stage, please. On stage, please. Discussion, Mr. Dilip Bhatia, CEO, ACE Derivatives and Commodity Exchange Limited. Mr. Sameer Shah, Managing Director and CEO, NCDEX. Mr. P.K. Singhal, Joint Managing Director, MCX. Mr. Viral Shah, Senior Vice President, Geojit Comtrade India Limited. And Mr. Manik Gupta, Trader, Glencore Grain India Private Limited.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to make you all miss the tea break, but I hope what we are going to speak is going to keep you awake without the tea. Futures trading serves the objectives of risk management and price discovery. In order to facilitate hedging, especially in a volatile price scenario, futures, which caters to the entire value chain, plays a pivotal role. India has 3 cotton futures contracts provided by 3 commodity exchanges. However, neither is anywhere near matching the international exchange, intercontinental exchange or the Chinese future contracts. This is so even though India is today the largest cotton producer in the world. India has a large exportable surplus which needs an exchange which the international price of Indian cotton can be discovered. The Intercontinental Exchange is to soon launch a world contract which would allow Indian cotton to be delivered. To understand the constraints and the challenges facing Indian exchanges and the world cotton contract, we have an expert panel who will enlighten us on all the issues and questions that any of us may have. I now would like to introduce Mr. Peter Wakefield, who will be speaking on the international cotton contract. Peter was cotton for England. At the age of 3 months old, he left with his parents to Japan. In his teenage years, he completed his education in Singapore and the UK with plenty of visits to cotton warehouses with his father. Peter joined the company Associate Surveyors and Test Laboratories Company Limited in Thailand, where he continued to learn the art of cotton controlling. After 3 years in Thailand, Peter was invited to take up the position of manager in the Taiwan office of Edward T. Robertson and Son. In 1990, Peter returned to Liverpool to take up the position of European manager of Edward T. Robertson and Son, and was thus able to be at the forefront of the company's expansion into the former Soviet Union. In 1953, a major change happened which resulted in the purchase of parts of Edward T. Robertson and Son, thus forming a new company, Wakefield Inspection Services, which Peter assumed the position of managing director. On completion of his term as director of the ICA in 2006, Peter was invited to become the chairman of the Committee for International Cooperation between Cotton Associations. In 2007, Peter decided to relocate to Shanghai, where he resides and works to this date. Peter?
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you first of all for the opportunity of speaking on the subject of the World Cotton Contract, as was requested by our good friend Mr. Dhiren Seth, President of the Cotton Association of India. As some of the work on the contract is still ongoing, and I am not an employee of ICE, it was thus necessary to confirm with ICE that it was okay for me to provide this update. And as requested by ICE, I am obliged to advise that I do not speak on behalf of ICE. The comments that I make are on the general terms of the proposed contract as agreed between the Trade Committee that is advising ICE and ICE. However, these terms may not be final and could be subject to change. But let's start at the beginning. Why this World Contract? Where did it start from? Well, there's a group of members in the American Cotton Shippers Association who are looking at the existing opportunities to trade as a whole, and we're looking at ideas to provide additional price discovery for other growths of cotton. And at the same time, there was a group in the International Cotton Association looking at very similar work. It was decided to merge these two groups and have one common approach for the trade. After the basic ideas were formulated, and after much debate within the committee, it was agreed that an approach should be made to the Intercontinental Exchange, ICE, with a view that they may be given the opportunity of exploring the establishment of a World Cotton Contract. Why ICE? Well, I'll go into that in much more detail later. But there were other possibilities, all of which were good. However, with the prospect of having arbitrage between the number 2 contract and the World Contract, utilising one set of common clearing arrangements is felt to be preferable. So to the contract itself. What is ICE and the trade doing or not doing? The idea is that ICE is going to introduce a new physical delivery futures contract that will trade alongside the existing number 2 contract. They will not be changing the terms of the number 2 contract. They are not going to end the number 2 contract and replace it with a World Contract, and they are not introducing a cash-settled contract, i.e. the old NYC A index futures. Some of the key terms of the new World Contract are the same as the number 2 contract. There can be a physical delivery in exchanged licensed warehouses. The pricing will be in US cents per pound, and the contract months are March, May, July, October, and December. To the key delivery terms, the contract size will be £55,000. This is slightly larger than the number 2 contract, as it will enable the delivery of the different growths in multiple containers. The size is calculated to be the optimum to cater for the different growths. The origins suggested by ICE to ICE by the trade are US cotton, Australian cotton, Brazilian, Indian cotton, and the 5 West African origins of Ivory Coast, Burkina Faso, Mali, Cameroon, and Benin. The delivery points. The existing number ICE-2 contract US delivery points in Dallas, Fort Worth, Memphis, Houston, Greenville, and Galveston will be retained. In addition, there will be new delivery locations in Australia, which are in Brisbane, Sydney, and Melbourne, and Malaysia in Port Klang or in Tanjung Pelapas. What is the difference in this world contract? Well, the main difference is the US cotton will be the par origin, with premiums and discounts for all other origins. The origin differentials will be set periodically to reflect the relative values of Indian, Brazilian, Australian, and the West African origins versus the US. The par delivery location will be Malaysia, with discounts for the US and Australia. However, these port differences will be annually set to reflect the cost of the movement of containers from the US or Australia or Brazil to Malaysia. The base grade, as you can see on the screen, is a 31 or a middling, staple 36, leaf 3, strength 27, with micronair from 3.5 to 4.9. But why have a world cotton contract? If you look at the 2003-2004 season, the US cotton, on which the number contract currently covers, was 19% of world cotton production and 41% of world cotton exports. However, if we move to the 2013-14 marketing season, this had changed to 11% of the world cotton production and 27% of world cotton exports. The US is still the largest supplier to export buyers, but its share is decreasing over time. And as other origins increase their availability and quality, thus the new proposed contract would be more meaningful to the trade at large. If we take the other origins selected, as we have in the 2013-14 marketing season, these origins selected represent 73% of the world cotton exports, as made up, as showing on the screen. I think the numbers there speak for themselves. But why ICE? As I alluded to earlier, there were several reasons for selecting ICE to be given the opportunity to create this contract. And these reasons include ICE trading platform with screens already in front of the global cotton community on a daily basis. Margin offsets for the world contract versus the number 2 positions. The ICE experience in operating the number 2 contract. The ICE experience in operating multiple contracts serving the global sugar, cocoa and coffee trading communities. Global sales and customer support. Key question I'm sure a lot of people want to know is when. Well, the target is still first quarter 2015 with first delivery for the first delivery month in mid-2015. However, there are still significant challenges ahead, and I think this target may be extended possibly towards the end of the year next year, even at first quarter 2016. Let's look at some of these challenges and then you'll understand why the potential delay. There are requirements for the contract rules to be finalised with the CFTC in the US or under a different regulator. These include making decisions on the final delivery locations of the contract, whether it will be in New York, London, or it could be another ICE location. It is necessary to resolve the Malaysian import regime issues. Malaysia has introduced new phytosanitary rules covering the import or temporary storage of cotton in that country. For each origin in the contract, an application will have to be made to obtain PRI time-limited approval. This work is ongoing with CAI to obtain this for Indian cotton. If the issue with Malaysia cannot be overcome, then it will be necessary to consider other deliverable locations. And again, work on this is ongoing. Arranging for the contracts with the licensed warehouse operators in the US will be quite easy, as they will be the existing warehouses. However, for Australia, Malaysia, or any third country, they must be identified, contract signed, explained, and agreed. Licensed samplers will have to be arranged in countries outside the USA. Cotton that is currently 100% HVI tested in the USA by the USDA will be deliverable under very similar rules to the number 2 contract. However, for all other cottons being delivered, they must be 100% tagged with a PBI tag similar to that used in the US, either applied prior to delivery or applied to the bales at the time of delivery. Then, 20% samples will be taken on presentation at the deliverable warehouse. Delivered lots will be in container blocks, and once delivered, a container block may not be broken. As the cotton is delivered to the warehouse, a licensed weigher will be used in the non-US deliverable locations. These weighing organisations will be responsible for supervising and reporting on the weights for each bale delivered. The banding, packing of the bales will be required to meet contract specifications to allow for delivery. In addition, we have to finalise with other third-party corporations, the USDA and ICA Bremen on plastic. Initially, these 2 laboratories will be the only laboratories certified for plastic and cotton to be delivered on the contract. However, in the long term, other ICA Bremen approved laboratories at or close to the deliverable warehouses may be approved for testing. EWR Inc. will be utilised for their inventory tracking and management, which has to be installed in each of the delivered warehouses. Licensed weighers will be required to load the weighing data directly into the EWR system. So I'd just like to thank Tim Barry and Valerie Kosakio for providing a lot of the information for this presentation. If you have any further questions and request detailed questions, please contact them directly, and their contact details are shown on the screen. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Peter. Very interesting presentation, Peter. Just have a question. The current Indian regulations do not permit export of cotton, and since you envisage delivery in Malaysia, does not envisage exports happening without a 25% advance on LC being received. Has that point been thought of?
That would be up to the deliverer to arrange that in advance. So somebody would have to export the cotton from Malaysia, from India, to place it into Malaysia.
Could you elaborate a bit more on the delivery mechanism?
Then by Mike.
No, the other question that I had was, can delivery be completed in India rather than Malaysia?
Now, unfortunately, there was a lot of debate as to the locations for the delivery, and it was concluded that they would use only the existing warehouses in the USA. There will be new warehouses in Australia, and one base port for delivery. The idea is to utilise Malaysia. Obviously, Malaysia has some issues with its phytosanitary requirements, so that may have to be changed. But at present, they will keep one deliverable location, which would be the PAR location, and that's been selected as being Malaysia.
So all other growths will all be delivered logically to Malaysia. Would anybody like to ask any questions on the World Cotton Contract? Yeah, you
Thank you for your very enlightening presentation. And apprehension, I wanted to comment as well as pass on the apprehension to the committee and ICE. The quality specification states 31.3 as the base grade. I see this as a serious disadvantage to Indian cotton because Indian cotton has a classification system of its own. It's Rollagent cotton, it's not Solgent cottons like the other growths on this list. Our thrash content is slightly higher, which will give us some disadvantage as far as tenderability is concerned. I think that has to be seriously considered. I say this on behalf of CI and the entire Indian trade. This doesn't seem right for Indian cotton.
I can only tell you that I can pass that information back to the committee.
My serious apprehension. Thank you.
Anybody else? Vinabel, I think you. Okay.
Contract is essentially Solgent contract. So logically we all have only Rollagent, so it can't be delivered.
Okay. Yeah.
Contract is Solgent. Am I right? There is contract is
No,
Solgent.
contract doesn't mention Solgent. No, it doesn't.
It's not mentioned. Okay. So I understand. Still there is some chance of delivery at least. I thought if it is Solgent, there is no chance.
Yeah.
I think those are valid points raised by Devendra Mehlai, but what it will do is it will help Indian ginners and Indian traders to prepare better quality cotton if they want it to be delivered on the exchange. So our ginnings and our contamination controls will have to improve if Indian cotton needs to find a way to the board, and that is one thing that is very important, that any cotton deliverable on the exchange should stand by the quality standards. So it will only help the trade, I feel.
No, I think you're quite correct. The requirements are a little bit tough, and I think in the long term it will also help right across the entire Indian cotton community. It will upgrade and improve ginning, it will improve packing, it will improve marking. So all in all, I think it can be seen as a benefit, a long-term benefit to the trade.